Can you discuss how to do an outreach call? What does that look like? And is there a format? Beautiful question. I will attach an outreach call guideline today. And a couple of years ago, one of my sponsees, because I require my sponsees to make 2 outreach calls a day, and then those first 90 days, 30 to 90 days, call me too. And so they were coming to me and they were saying, people don't take my call and people don't return my call. And I was like, well, who are you calling? And they said, women I'm sitting in meetings with. I'm like, whoa, you got to be kidding me. Like, we know each other, we're eye to eye, and they're not taking my call or returning my call. And I do remember when I first got into the program and I was making outreach calls, and I had called a woman who had many more years than I did. And she didn't take my call and she didn't return my call. And then when I saw her in a meeting, I said, hey, did you get my message? And she looked me straight in the eye and she said, yes. Well, okay. I guess I won't be calling her again. So everybody's got their own thing. You find the people who are your people and that take your calls and call you back and do that. So, but what I wrote at that time was kind of guidelines. And I realized that the reason people don't take calls or return them is for fear that you have to stay on the phone for 30 or 45 minutes because we can. And so I needed to really create kind of that format for, being able to stay on the phone for 5 or 10 minutes, or whatever it can be. And so what that really looks like is being able to say to each other, and it's in our threads, it's in a lot of the WhatsApp threads, and it looks like OR for outreach. And then it'll say 3/3, and then it might say FB or no FB. And what that means is outreach, 3 minutes me, 3 minutes you, with or without feedback. And so that's just sharing, it's just connecting. And so even if you don't do that, you can make an outreach call, and if the person answers, then you can say, I'd love to share for 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'd love for you to share for 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'd love feedback, or I don't need feedback. Maybe if you want to give feedback, that's okay, but I just wanted to share and get to know you. Like, that's it. And you can text in advance and you can say, hey, I'd love to outreach with you, if you have time today or if you have time the next couple of days. And you could say, I'd love to, maybe do 5 and 5 with feedback or not. And so we're all just learning this stuff, ladies. This is like foreign territory for us all. But I also will share one more story. There was a woman who called me one day and wanted to do outreach, and I'm just the outreach queen, and I'm early morning outreach. So, when I wake up, I'm the most alert and not into my work, so I can give full attention. And so this woman, she shared, we didn't have a structure. We were both new. And she probably shared for 5 minutes. I mean, she just really went on and on and on. And I said, well, I have a couple of things that I wanted to share. And she said, oh no, I don't do that. Like, I'm going to share. And like, she was really clear that she wasn't going to listen to me. And I did have enough self-worth. I love the looks on your faces, by the way. It's great when they're, I had enough self-worth to know that that's not right, and so we all get to raise our self-worth and learn how to set boundaries. And I didn't need to say anything that day except, okay, I'll go now. But I didn't take her calls anymore because that's not fair. That's not what recovery is about. We are all in this together. So, and I will post that document. Oh, one more thing on the document is that a fellow who had attended one of the retreats that I did, I brought that outreach. It was just a one sheet is all it was. And she took it and she added a few things to it that gave it more structure. And then, without my even knowing it, she submitted it to the conference literature committee. Like, we need this as a brochure. We need this as a pamphlet. And then they were well into that process before I was involved. And she said, "Hey, Alicia, the conference literature committee is turning your, one sheet into a pamphlet. And they've asked us to make some changes since you and I are the writing group." Like that's how it works. Like a writing group gets together and writes a pamphlet. And then the whole committee says, "No, we don't like this. No, we don't like that. What about this?" And it's great, I have to tell you. So this was just before quarantine because she came down from LA and we sat in my living room and we just fleshed it all out. And so what I'm going to post in the chat box